Okay, next video. John Deere 7410. Dad's been complaining about the loss of power in the tractor. Just no power. So he says the fuel filters are plugging up, and I don't know, I just can't see if the fuel filters are plugged up because they're not. Been looking at them. Changed a few of them, and they're pretty expensive, so I really don't want to be throwing them away. Like 40 bucks a piece. So anyway, I'm putting a loader on here the other day before we went to the tractor parade, and I heard a noise. Well, the noise was the turbocharger. This little guy right here. Yeah. Looks like a fairly easy fix. Just pull the lines off, obviously, and get it off of there. And I'm going to walk you through it just as I go through it. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to clean this engine up a little bit too because it's just dirt. It's full of dirt. So I'm going to blow it off and get it apart, you know, as best I can. Yeah, new turbocharger. New turbochargers are not cheap. Used to be a turbocharger was like $400 or $500. Well, the new turbochargers for the 7410, and this is a reman, 1,040 bucks. A brand new one, not quite 1,900. So, that being said, I got the remanufactured one, which I have no problem with because, well, it's got a warranty, and we're gonna put it in there. This turbocharger has, oh, damn near 14,000 hours on it. So, in 14,000 hours, I think it's okay to have a turbocharger that goes bad after that many hours. But anyways, I'm going to start tearing it apart. So I've already got the hood off because it's kind of awkward to film and do that. But I'm going to pop this side panel off and then oil lines and everything else. So you can watch me. You can watch me do that. Gonna make a quick note here. Yeah, the turbocharger, it's loose in there. What it's doing is it's binding on the exhaust side. When you put a load on it, then it, shit, I got a phone call. Put a load on it, then it binds up and stops the compressor from going. So I gotta answer that. Alright, so I got the oil line off the top there, and next step is going to be to just remove the muffler clamp, the exhaust muffler clamp, because it goes directly into the muffler. This is one of these corner cab mounted exhausts. This is one of the early 7410s. I think a lot of them, they actually came out from under the hood and up the side, or right even through the hood. This is one of the odder of the more odd 7410s. I like this one. I like the cab mounted exhaust. I think it's great. It's quiet in this cab, so I'm not going to complain about it. But anyway, yeah, I got to remove this clamp, and then there's one more bolt right there, right here. That takes that oil line off, and then I got these 4 bolts here for the where the turbo's mounted. I've already loosened up the compressor side where it mounts to the intake manifold pipe, and yeah, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to pop those 4 bolts out of there, and we'll lift that turbo right off there. So now I'm tearing this turbocharger off. Of course, I had some other things to do during the course of the day, and what I'm finding is that these bolts here, where my finger is, that one came out, the one on the other side came out, the one on the other side of this one that my finger's on. That one came out. But there's always one. There's always one little son of a bitch that does not want to come out. So I went and I bought a special tool. I wanted a wrench that would, you know, grab all the sides. Of course, this one here is heavy enough that you wouldn't think it would spread, but it does. It spreads. So that don't work. So what I'm going to do is going to go to the old-fashioned vice grips and an air hammer, and I'm going to see if that's going to work. I can't videotape and do this at the same time, but I'm going to try. We'll see what happens. Sometimes when you just can't get a bolt off, you got to weld one on. So what I've done is I had to go over to Flemington because we're mowing hay over there, and I bought a 15mm wrench, which is actually the size that I need to take the bolt off, but I have to weld it on there. Let's see if you can see that. You see where I got to weld that on? It's loose, but I can weld it on there, and then I should have enough to crack it loose from there. And then I'll just break the wrench off of the bolt and put the 14mm on there, and I should be able to just get the damn thing off. So here I go. All right, as you can see, I have it welded on there. I had to weld it a couple of spots. Hopefully it'll hold. If not, well, we're gonna break it off, something like that anyway. So here we go. Right, you can see that I welded it, and I've now broke the wrench off. It is loose. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I think it's pretty loose. The bolt's loose. I can't touch it with my fingers, but I'm going to put a pair of vice grips on there and twist it the rest of the way off, and then I'll remove the turbo. Alright, so here's what it looks like when you remove the turbo. Those are your exhaust ports. They come out of the engine. And there's your intake there. Here is the gasket that goes on there. It's just steel. I don't think there's anything wrong with this one, really. It's not leaking anywhere. Was on there really tight, but I do have a new one coming, so we're not even going to worry about it. Now, look at the turbocharger. On the exhaust side, you can see there's a lot of soot built up in there, and it really doesn't look like it's not rubbing anywhere in here. But if you come over to the compressor side of it, you can see, let me see if I can get a better light on this thing. This is kind of a, I'll get you in the sunlight. Maybe you can see it a little better there. But you can see, maybe not. Well, anyways, along the edge of the fins, they are wobbling in there, and they're actually touching, they were actually touching the casting there on the inside. They don't move in and out, but they don't move freely either, so that's what they move side to side. Watch, see that? No, let's see, maybe you can see it this way. I'm trying to get you to see it. You can see that it wobbles side to side. So what's happening when it gets under a load, it wobbles and it hits the side of the chamber there on the compressor side, and it slows it down, therefore flooding the cylinders with fuel and not enough oxygen or air mixture to create a clean burn, which is why I was losing power. So this unit here is about, well, it's a little over $1,000. It was supposed to be here today, but it wasn't. So anyways, tomorrow's another day. Hopefully it gets here early. Anyhow, yeah, there it is. Turbocharger is out. I'm going to take the rest of the hose off of here, and that'll be that. And the new one will go in. I just got to tell you that the turbocharger is back in the 7410. I also repaired the screens. There it is, all good. Yeah, so anyways, that's back together. I put a new screen on the front of the 7410 because the old one Dad had crushed up. It's there on top of the box. What you do is you just take the old screens and you put them in there. In here and stuff. I just reused those because there was really nothing wrong with them. But when they get crushed up, then they allow dirt and shit to get up in the radiator. So headlights, I put new bulbs in. They're pretty well shot. So I glued them in with RTV cement. So that'll hold them in place, it won't come out. We reused the old emblem there. My brother-in-law kind of got it off of there. And that's why I did not videotape putting a turbocharger in there, because there was a lot of cursing. John Deere did not give me the parts that I needed, all of them. I asked for everything to mount. All I got was 4 lousy bolts. No seals, no gasket. So I had to reuse the old ones. They were fine, there was nothing wrong with them. I sprayed them down with this copper, this spray copper gasket, which made a good seal, and there's no leaking or anything there. It's not really that important. As long as you seal it, it's fine. So anyways, that concludes the 7410 turbocharger. Other than I should probably start the bitch up. And I think that's what I'm going to do. But, she's a little bit snappy. Bit snappy now. Alright, we're going to get some smoke. A little bit. Let her warm up a little bit, because that turbocharger, you know, is brand new. That little puff of black smoke, that's what it's supposed to be. Black. And yeah, let's see, a little more black smoke there. Now my ears have gotten to the point where I can't hear anything anymore, but oh, I can hear that turbo whistling. Oh yeah. So anyway, the turbocharger cost $1,047 for a remanufactured one. Took me all of about 15 minutes to put it in. Taking the old one off was a real bitch because of the old bolts. But yeah, I just didn't have the camera handy. I left it in the truck, and you know what? I can't get it all on tape. But anyway, yeah, that concludes that. We'll take it up the road and see once I get this mower from behind me fixed. I got a cutter bar issue, so I guess I could show you a bit of that. But, you know, if you don't use them, they don't break. Just remember that. Anyhow, yeah, the 7410 is back in business. I'm going to change the oil too. But, all right, here we go.